Thank you. I'll sit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, hey.
Yep.
All right.
We got
Verified.
exposure. Let me
All right.
In a quiet rural area of Flagler County, Florida, 60-year-old Dorothy Singer lived with her husband, Charles Singer. But behind closed doors, their marriage harbored secrets that would soon lead to a shocking tragedy. When Charles disappeared in early 2017, his family initially feared the worst but hoped for the best. However, what began as a missing persons case spiraled into a macabre discovery involving deception, financial fraud, and a murder so unsettling it gripped an entire community.
Flagler County Sheriff's Office, search warrant, open the door! Flagler County Sheriff's Office, search warrant, open the door! Flagler County Sheriff's Office, search warrant, open the door! Dog. Show of hands. Slowly open the door and get control of your dog, okay?
Today we'll take you step by step through the case of Dorothy Singer, a chilling story of lies and betrayal. Charles Singer was known as a gentle, soft-spoken man with a quiet demeanor. At 48 years old, he lived a relatively isolated life, partly due to his legal blindness, which left him unable to drive or use a phone easily. Despite this, he stayed in touch with his sister Lori and other family members. In February 2017, Lori began to worry when she hadn't heard from Charles in weeks. Attempts to reach him were met with vague and impersonal text messages from his phone, which struck her as odd. Charles, who struggled with his vision, rarely texted anyone. The messages felt wrong, and Lori couldn't shake the suspicion that someone else was sending them. Her concern deepened when a friend of Charles mentioned seeing the couple involved in a heated argument shortly before his disappearance. Lori's husband decided to act and filed a missing persons report with local authorities. Deputies quickly visited Dorothy Singer's home for a welfare check. Dorothy greeted them with a story that was both strange and incomplete.
All three are right here. The aggressive dog is in the car, so just don't open it.
Okay. All right, good morning, guys. Sorry to wake you up like this.
That's okay.
Is the house completely clear? Okay. Do you guys want to sit on your couch? Inside? Okay, it's cold. All right, let's go ahead and go inside.
Clear. Watch yourself going up those stairs. You're welcome. You're welcome.
She claimed that she and Charles had argued about his alleged drug use and that he had stormed off, taking his credit cards with him. Despite her calm demeanor, investigators were skeptical. Dorothy appeared to lack any real concern for Charles's whereabouts. When detectives reviewed Charles's financial records, their doubts grew. Transactions on his account continued long after his supposed departure, and surveillance footage from nearby ATMs revealed Dorothy making cash withdrawals. When questioned about these transactions, Dorothy's responses were inconsistent.
Oh, and it looks like Social Security went in.
Yeah, so
3-2 for 1091, 1,000.
and then straight talk.
That is the house phone.
Oh, okay.
And it automatic.
It comes out every month.
Right, it come out there, and it looked like it come out again today.
Oh, okay.
Or the 3rd, yeah, which would have been today.
Okay.
So the Social Security goes in the beginning
On the
of the... Okay, and that just goes in automatically no matter what.
Right there. And here it was less because they took his insurance out.
Oh, okay, so he usually gets 13.
Yeah.
It was 14.
Well, he was getting 14 something, and then they started taking, the state of Florida don't pay for their insurance no more. So there they took out 3 months. Mm-hmm.
Where's the dates? Oh, I see them over there.
All right, so the life insurance.
That's automatically.
And
I didn't even know about that. I was like, what?
All right, Capital One.
That's his credit card.
Okay, that he has with him, right?
Right.
And he has all of his credit cards?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So he made a phone payment on the 10th? What's today? No.
That's 3/10. Today is the 3rd.
Oh, the April.
So he had to call from his phone to make that payment. Okay. Walmart in Palatka.
I'm assuming that we were just talking about that. He has to be with Brian. That's the only reason he'd be over there.
At first, she claimed Charles had authorized her to use his cards. Later, she suggested that Charles had returned briefly and made the withdrawals himself. Her defensive and erratic behavior only raised more red flags. As days turned into weeks, Lori and her family pressed authorities to investigate further. Detectives obtained Dorothy's consent to search the property, but what should have been a straightforward check turned suspicious. Dorothy seemed uneasy as officers explored the grounds. She stayed close to them, trying to redirect their focus back to the house whenever they moved toward the wooded area behind the property. This behavior struck investigators as odd, prompting them to take a closer look at the woods.
I went this way.
Yeah. Yeah. This one's actually pretty.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah. Watch out. Watch that ball. Yeah, I think so. Lift right there. And then right here.
One of you got it, and then you want me down with him?
All set?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, hey.
Yep. All right.
We got
Verified.
exposure. Let me
All
see.
right. Yeah. Take a picture of it? Yeah. Hey, Jody.
Okay.
All right, Jody.
There's the mothballs.
Take a picture of the mothball for me.
That's
It was there that they discovered something unusual: a boat covered with a camouflage tarp hidden beneath a pile of branches. Though nothing incriminating was immediately visible, the discovery was suspicious enough for detectives to obtain a search warrant for a more thorough examination. Armed with a warrant, investigators returned to Dorothy's property and uncovered a horrifying scene. Beneath the tarp, they found the decomposed remains of Charles Singer. His body had been wrapped in a comforter and tied with twine. Forensic analysis revealed signs of severe trauma. Charles had been shot multiple times with one bullet piercing his chest. His skull also showed signs of blunt force trauma. Investigators determined that Charles had been killed in the couple's bedroom, where bloodstains were found on the headboard, carpet, and curtains. Further digging revealed that the tarp and twine used to conceal the body had been purchased by Dorothy shortly after Charles disappeared. This damning evidence solidified investigators' belief that Dorothy had orchestrated the crime and covered it up. To gather more evidence, detectives enlisted a confidential informant to speak with Dorothy. Equipped with a recording device, the informant met with her under the guise of discussing her plans to leave town. During the conversation, Dorothy made a shocking confession. She admitted to shooting Charles after an argument escalated. According to Dorothy, the gun initially went off accidentally during a struggle. However, she also described emptying the gun into Charles until it was out of bullets. Dorothy claimed she blacked out after the first shot and only realized what had happened when she saw Charles lying lifeless on the ground. Her confession included chilling details about wrapping his body and hiding it under the tarp. She also revealed plans to fake her own and flee the state, adding another layer of premeditation to her actions. Dorothy Singer's trial in 2019 marked the conclusion of an investigation that exposed years of deceit and a chilling crime. Throughout the proceedings, the courtroom became the setting where prosecutors and defense attorneys clashed over whether Dorothy had acted in self-defense or committed a deliberate, premeditated murder. The defense presented Dorothy as a victim of abuse, claiming that her marriage to Charles had been plagued by physical altercations and his alleged drug use. They argued that the fatal shooting occurred during a heated argument, describing it as a tragic accident. Dorothy testified that she feared for her life and claimed she had blacked out after the first shot, suggesting that her actions were not intentional but born out of panic. The prosecution, however, painted a starkly different picture, meticulously dismantling Dorothy's self-defense claims. They portrayed her as a manipulative individual who, after killing her husband, took calculated steps to cover up the crime. Prosecutors highlighted Dorothy's fraudulent financial activities following Charles's death, including impersonating him via text messages and using his credit cards for months. Surveillance footage showing her making ATM withdrawals with Charles's card was a key piece of evidence that exposed her lies about his supposed disappearance. The most damning evidence came in the form of Dorothy's own recorded confession. A confidential informant, equipped with a hidden recording device, had captured Dorothy admitting to shooting Charles multiple times during an argument. She chillingly described unloading the gun into him until it was empty and revealed plans to fake her own and flee the state. Forensic evidence further strengthened the prosecution's case, with bloodstains in the bedroom confirming that Charles had been killed there. The tarp and twine used to wrap his body were traced back to Dorothy's purchases, leaving little doubt about her involvement. Inconsistent statements from Dorothy throughout the investigation also weighed heavily against her. She initially claimed Charles had left with his credit cards, but this was proven false. Her nervous behavior during the property search and attempts to steer investigators away from the wooded area where Charles's body was hidden only deepened suspicions. Ultimately, the jury deliberated for 5 days before delivering a unanimous verdict. Dorothy Singer was guilty of first-degree murder. The judge sentenced her to life in prison without the possibility of parole, ensuring that she would never again walk free. The conviction brought some closure to Charles's family, who had tirelessly sought justice for their loved one.
You're being charged this morning with first-degree murder with a firearm. Is it your intention to hire a private attorney to represent you today, ma'am?
No.
That was a no?
Yeah,
Okay, then let me ask you some questions about your finances. Are you working?
I was.
Okay, where are you working, ma'am?
Manufacturing,
And how much do you earn?
$400 a week.
Do you own a house or any land?
No,
Do you own a vehicle or a truck?
no.
I will conditionally appoint the public defender's office to represent you today, ma'am. You will need to fill out more detailed financial documentation at your next court date if you wish to continue with their services, okay?
Okay.
All right, I have reviewed the 707 arrest affidavit and the warrant signed by myself. I will find probable cause. State, is it your intention to file the appropriate motion to detain Ms.
Yes,
Singer?
Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Warren, anything this morning?
No objection as to PC.
Okay.
I anticipate being appointed. I've already been out to see her. And if we do file a bond motion, we'll file that appropriately within the next week or two.
Okay, I'll leave the bond as set at none, and I had also made a note on there, no contact with the victim's family or any witnesses in the case, so I will leave that in place as well. Thank you, Ms. Singer.
The case of Dorothy Singer serves as a sobering reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked conflict and the tragic outcomes of toxic relationships. What began as a seemingly normal marriage between Dorothy and Charles Singer unraveled into a nightmare of violence, deceit, and murder. For Charles's family, the case left behind a mix of grief, frustration, and ultimately some measure of closure. While justice was served, it came at a tremendous cost. A loved one's life lost and a family forever scarred. One of the most striking aspects of this case was the role of deception in Dorothy's actions. From the moment Charles disappeared, She embarked on a campaign of lies, impersonating him through text messages and continuing to use his financial resources. Her efforts to maintain the illusion that Charles was still alive were not just manipulative, but also deeply callous. For months, she strung along his family and friends, all while knowing the horrifying truth about what had happened. This level of deception highlighted the calculated nature of her actions, making it clear that her attempts to portray herself as a victim of abuse were riddled with inconsistencies. Charles's family, particularly his sister Lori, played an essential role in ensuring the truth came to light. Lori's intuition, persistence, and refusal to accept Dorothy's explanations were instrumental in pushing the investigation forward. Despite the emotional toll, Lori and her family's determination to uncover the truth kept the case alive, proving how vital familial advocacy can be in cases of suspected foul play. The community response to the case was another poignant aspect. As the details of Dorothy's actions became public, the case drew attention to issues of domestic violence, manipulation, and the lengths to which individuals might go to cover up their crimes. It raised questions about how red flags in relationships are often ignored until it's too late, and underscored the importance of addressing conflicts before they escalate. Dorothy's claims of abuse, though unsubstantiated, also highlighted the complexity of domestic violence cases, where allegations can muddy the waters of truth and justice. This case also served as a reminder of the importance of thorough investigative work. Detectives faced numerous challenges, from Dorothy's attempts to mislead them to the logistical hurdles of searching a rural property. Yet their meticulous approach, combined with forensic evidence and a recorded confession, ensured that Dorothy's lies could not stand up in court. Their persistence ultimately secured a conviction, bringing some semblance of justice to Charles's family. For Charles, however, justice came too late. His life was cut short in a brutal and senseless act of violence, and his family is left with memories of a kind, gentle man who didn't deserve the fate he met. While Dorothy Singer will spend the rest of her life in prison, the emotional scars left by her actions will linger with the people who knew and loved Charles. The Dorothy Singer case underscores the critical need for awareness and intervention in cases of domestic conflict. It's a stark reminder that silence and inaction can have devastating consequences. For anyone experiencing abuse or witnessing signs of potential harm, reaching out for help can be a life-saving decision. This case is a call to action to protect those at risk, seek support, and advocate for justice in the face of tragedy. As the legal chapter of this case closes, the emotional toll remains, a stark testament to the human cost of violence and the need for vigilance and compassion in addressing troubled relationships. The story of Dorothy Singer is a chilling example of how lies and manipulation can unravel into tragedy. While justice was ultimately served, the case leaves behind a haunting legacy, a reminder of how domestic conflicts can escalate to deadly consequences. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, please seek help immediately. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is available 24/7 and can provide support and resources to those in need. Thank you for joining us today. Let us know your thoughts on this case in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more true crime stories. Until next time, stay safe.